Alright, so you'll need a jack and jack stands, pry bar, an 18mm wrench, 18mm socket, a ratchet, your new shocks, penetrating fluid, hammer, wire brush or sandpaper, and safety equipment, gloves and safety glasses. Make sure you're being safe. Okay, so you can see that I do have the car already jacked up here. The wheels are taken off. You don't have to take off the wheels to do this, but I found it helped both with getting to the bolts plus filming and stuff like that. You don't have to take off the wheels though. So you can see that I have my quick jack supporting the car, but you just put your jack stands there on the frame and support it. You do need your jack because you need to be able to get to your differential. This part you don't necessarily have to do either. Even when you take off the shocks, some of the other components will hold it in, but this is just in case something is broken, a spring is broken or something like that. You release the shocks and all of a sudden, boom, you don't want the rear end to fall out, right? Or put pressure on the brake lines or anything like that. So, all right, so here you can see I'm just using the 18mm socket with my ratchet. Now it's only to 63 foot-pounds, so a couple taps with my hand and that releases the bolt. But once you see the nut starts, I release the nut, and then you see the bolt spinning, so now I put my wrench to go the rest of the way. You can use an impact gun too. I'm just using hand tools here because, most people, that's what they're going to have. And you just take that bolt right out. You see I spray penetrating fluid as well and let it soak for a few minutes. That's always good to do. Now, after that, put your nut back on, and I gave it a few taps of the hammer to get it moving. You may have corrosion or something built up in there. Luckily, I didn't have that problem. Make sure when you're taking this out that there's not pressure on the bolt and it's not being stuck too much in the frame. Like this is just a little bit of trying to work it out a bit, but you don't want to damage the threads as you pull out the bolt. You don't want it, because if it gets jammed in the metal and you force it out or get a screwdriver and tap it from the other side, you can damage the threads. Don't want to do that. So make sure it can come out fairly freely just by hand. You may have to wiggle it a bit, but Now you go to the top and you take out that bolt as well. And as you can see, it's an 18mm there, and there's also a bolt, but attached to that clip. You see that clip on there? It's actually just clipped on and clips through. So I found actually I didn't need to use the wrench, but you may have to. But a couple taps by hand got it moving, and then I just had to kind of put my hand behind. You'll see it here in a minute. At first I'm loosening it out. Then I just put my hand behind and just held that clip, and I was able to just unscrew it, no problem, because it's not going to really move around there. The clip could move and have play, but just hold it in place, and that will just come right out. You can already see the shock is just hanging there now. Nothing's really holding it. And you can also see the clip. If you look there, you can see it swinging around as I loosen the bolt. But hey, just hold it and it'll come right out. Pull your bolt out. And you are almost good to go, sort of good to go, kind of good to go. Long bolt, as you can see, and you're good to go. All right. Always compare your parts, compare your shocks, as you can see I've done here. Make sure the fittings are the same, make sure everything looks good. Then we go and put our top in first. Now this, you don't tighten it. And the reason you don't tighten it is because you want to have some play as you tighten it back up to realign your bottom. So it does tighten, both the top and the bottom go to 63 foot-pounds. But this you go, basically to hand tight essentially. You want to be able to have some play until you get all the bottom bolt in as well. So here I'm just going to use the ratchet, snug it a bit, but you see it's still playing around. I still it can move. See? Then you line it up here, and it should hopefully, if all goes well, line up. But if it doesn't, let's say because your old shock's really worn or something, you can use your jack on the differential and move the differential around, which is why I say to keep the jack there as well, because then it can allow you to move around the rear, the whole rear differential and drive shaft and everything. Sorry, yeah, differential, rear drive shaft, if you need to move it around to adjust for the shock. So you put your bolt in, put the wrench on, tighten it all up. This one you can tighten up. So this one you'll see I'll go by hand, get it all snug. Then I will take my torque wrench, set to 63 foot-pounds, give it a go until we get that click. right there. Then go to the top, do the final tighten, and then if you took off your wheels, you can take off your wheels. Obviously, if your wheels are on and you're doing this, you'll need an extension too. And remember, if you use extensions and stuff, that does change your torque, right? The longer the extension, the torque can change slightly. So keep that in mind. But this is why I like taking the wheel off, because then I can get as close as I want with it. And then after that, you're done. You just kind of tighten this all up. 63 foot-pounds. Put your wheels on if you took them off. Make sure you torque your wheels up. Lower the car down, and you're good to go.
Thank you everyone for watching. I do appreciate all the support out there. Don't forget to throw a like on that video if it helped you, if you found the information useful, anything like that. Make sure to like it. Don't forget to subscribe, help the channel grow, and hit the notification if you want to see more of my videos. If you dislike the video, that's okay, no problem at all, but don't be a troll, alright? Make sure you put why in the comments. I mean, maybe I missed something, maybe I got something wrong, maybe there's something you feel better, or you didn't like how I filmed. Whatever it is, put it in there. I make these videos to help people out, so I can only make it better if I get the feedback, but I need the feedback. Just don't be trolling, alright? Otherwise, if you have any other comments, feel free to do so. I answer questions whenever I can. If you want to add something on there, if you have a helpful tip that maybe I didn't cover, I didn't even know about, make sure to put that in the comments as well. I want to thank everyone, and I will see you all next video.